Please be seated, everybody, please. Please take your seats. Assalamu alaikum. How is everybody this morning? In the most holy name of Allah, who is indeed the beneficent, the most merciful. We give him thanks, we give him praise for his charity, for his goodness, for his divine intervention in our affairs. We thank him and attempt to thank him for being so merciful to us. We really delight as a people in just going in the wrong direction. We really have delighted in allowing people to waste our time. And it's only really when we get sick or find ourselves in tremendous problems do we start to really appreciate the value of what God gave us to utilize in a divine way. Time is, if not the greatest asset that we have, I don't know what is. Because to have time and health, you have potential to do something of consequence. If we listen to a lot of noise that's not organized, then we're going to go around in circles. And I've just literally come back from the Caribbean. One of the things with the Caribbean, there's a lot of noise in the Caribbean. From morning to night, you can hear someone playing music. In the communities where we live, generally. Then when you go to more progressive communities, there's a bit of quiet, stillness. Because if God is on the inside of us, how are we ever going to hear him when there's so much noise externally? So we thank Allah for coming and for raising up a man whom he gave wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to, a sound that would connect with his presence within us. And that man worked morning, evening, noon, and night, not to discuss how important he was, but really the enormity of the job that he was given to make us into who we were naturally or should be naturally. His job was to really try to contact God within us and then cause us to see value in what he had connected us to. We can never thank Allah for a divine leader, teacher, and guide in the context of our miserable condition. In the context of a man standing up for us in 1933 or 4, independently of his teacher, when we were being called on national television Negroes. Like, could you imagine being referred to as a Negro and the most salient of our leaders, or naming his organization United Negro Improvement Association? Because we had not grown out of the context or the stigma of what we were made into by the transatlantic slave trade. The transatlantic slave trade had killed us mentally, spiritually, morally, and definitely economically. So when Mr. Garvey came to do his work, he said, let me focus on economics. Let me focus on trying to lay a foundation of not spirituality as such, but more philosophy, and give my people some opinions of who they are. So we thank Allah for all of those who have come But the work of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad was to bring us face to face with our Maker. Hard job when you've been made into nothing. And he laid such a formidable foundation of a new world that was necessary to come into existence because the old world had run its course. During the time of 1930, when he first started working, there was over 97% dissatisfaction amongst the human family. Now that's a lot of unhappy people. So here's a man working amongst the dissatisfied, whose job it was to give direction to the dissatisfaction so that the masses would accept that we need a total new reality. We thank him and can never thank him enough for recognizing one who would be given a tremendous job after he had completed his mission. You know, whenever you're building something, you start with a model, and then you invite people to study the model. And those who see potential in the model, then they start to make an investment. And they make an early investment, and those who are early investors are generally the greatest beneficiaries when the model is rolled out. We thank Almighty God Allah and the most honorable Elijah Muhammad for giving us a model and for giving us a man who would build out the model. So much so that we would be here in the UK as extensions of the model that was erected in North America. We thank Allah for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, a man who it may take some of us our entire life to try to appreciate his true magnitude. He is a man the like of which has never been before, the like of which, or who's been given a job, the like of which has never existed before. So we thank Allah for just the partial understanding that we have of him, and to be able to have made, some changes to our lives to justify our existence. Thank you for coming out this morning, and it's in the name of these great men that I start my little talk today to try to share some of what they have taught us. Assalamu alaikum. Eid Mubarak to you. I pray Allah that we all had a very good Eid and a very good Ramadan, and really seen areas in our lives that we can make some progress in a very difficult environment. England is a very difficult environment. It's like a very handsome woman or handsome man, very attractive. But if you don't go beyond a pretty face, then you might end up in hell. Because the road that leads to hell is very well paved and it's smooth. The road to the kingdom is that bumpy road with a lot of gangsters are on that road. Lots of deceitful people are on that road. Can you close the door, Ox, brother, to go somewhere else with these conversations? So today we just wanted to have, just trying to get back into the mold of being in this place. Because when you're in an environment where you're surrounded by 95% of your own people, and then you come back and you're only surrounded by 5% of your own people, you have to make the mental adjustment quite quickly, right? But when you're in some of our countries in the Caribbean and in Africa, you really wonder how such a great number of people are still being influenced by small groups, and how we stay so poor when we're governing ourselves. Poverty is a heck of a curse. Do you know that?
Yes, sir.
And I think as a people, we have been poor for too long.
Yes, sir.
Like our poverty has become so great that we don't even recognize it. I remember, and I'm reminded of a testimony from the Honorable Louis Farrakhan when he said the wife of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad came to visit him and his family, and she cried because she said she had never seen poverty like that. And he said he didn't even realize he was poor because he was so rich in the spirit. And most of the time, we don't realize how far we really are from the type of life God wants us to live, or the type of life that we deserve to live. That is quite basic. We're still living in a real substandard existence in 2025. And it seems as if it's only going to get worse for us now that there are trade wars taking place. But these type of shakeups are good for us because it's designed to force us to depend upon ourselves. Because if Caribbean nations and African nations don't come together, then we're not going to survive. Because we've looked at Europe and America as the great intermediary. You don't need to buy stuff from China that goes through Britain. You don't need to, or America. You don't need to buy stuff that goes through a third party. And if the third party now wants to charge you tax, a higher level of tax, for what you should go and negotiate to get directly yourself, then if you don't break away from the intermediary, then you're not going to be able to pay all of these various brokers.
That's right.
Are you with me? So God's coming was designed to cut out the middleman. There was a man who sold me a cup of coffee this morning. He said, "Every Sunday you look so smart. Where are you going, to church?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to church, but not the one with the white Jesus." I'm going to a place where we don't worship an image that will disadvantage us. And he laughed. Because European people don't expect black people to talk such straight words. Because I'm just telling the truth. But it seems as if it's worthy of a little laugh at the end of it. But it's truth. Going to a place where we're not going to worship you and your image. And if only you knew where I was going, I'd have to stop drinking coffee from you. So because I value your coffee, I'm going to keep my location covert. Everybody all right? Some of you would want to sell him a paper. But no, not necessary. So I wanted to discuss with us today, if you don't mind, the importance, as the flyer says, the value, the benefits of man being a maintainer of a woman. Have you noticed people ain't really getting married that much anymore? The new wedding is the after party of the funeral. So after the funeral, that's taken on an expression like a reception would after a wedding. People dress up, drink, dance, party. It's almost a celebration. And you know us, because we want to go and party our little feet off, we call the funeral a celebration of life. Think about it. They only mean celebration of life because you want to party and ramp. But it's not that it's a celebration of the person's life. You're going to go and celebrate life after we put the loved one in the ground. And we're going to celebrate life till our morning. Yeah? It's not a respectful celebration of life. Because if it was a celebration of life, why would there be contraband in the hall that leads to where the person is who we just buried? If it was a celebration of life, there'd be water, there'd be fresh juices, there'd be fruit. No? There'd be business opportunities. Huh? There'll be those who can inspire you to make good use of the time you've got left. If it was a celebration of life. But maybe we need to consider, how are we defining life? Now, when you look at, there was the man, I was watching the news yesterday, and this man, the owner of the horse that won the Grand National, he was celebrating winning the Grand National. And the horse belonged to his wife, and his wife had passed. So he was so jubilant that his wife's horse had won the Grand National. And he said, can't remember her name, but I'll use the name Sheila. Wherever Sheila is up there, have a glass of champagne, Sheila, for me. Now he's saying his wife is in heaven and she's watching the Grand National. And he wants her, or he knows she's having a glass of champagne in heaven because to celebrate the victory. And he didn't say it in a joking way. This is what he believes. You following me? So if you go to his church, that's what they're teaching. Yes? And if you discuss with him the reality of God, that's his understanding of it. And there's a lot of people who have that kind of understanding.
Yes, sir.
So if you look at people who get lost from going to A to B, you and I can't get over to East London or West London without summoning Waze or Google Maps, then how are we going to discuss space travel? And we don't even know our way around the earth we've been living on for 40, 50, 30 odd years. Like, how do you navigate space? Something to consider, right?
Yes, sir.
Is there a spiritual GPS system that allows you to get to this place where you can have a glass of champagne after you're dead? Have you ever thought about these things? Sometimes you've got to turn the music down and have a conversation with people so you can try and figure out the direction of travel that you want your life, to go in. Yeah? So let's look. Everybody all right, though? Yes. If you want to talk about space travel, you have to confront NASA. You have to confront SpaceX. Because them guys know how to get to the moon. They know how to get to Mars. Some of these entities have gone there and sent probes there. So they have a system of how to navigate space. Now you look at what SpaceX is trying to do at the moment. They're trying to colonize the moon. Now, do you think Mr. Musk is not clear about the history of the moon as taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad? That it was once a part of the earth. And because he has studied, you're not going to study all of the Encyclopedia Britannia and Message to the Black Man does not come across your desk. Our Savior's Arrived doesn't come across your desk. The Fall of America doesn't come across your desk. The Supreme Wisdom doesn't come across your desk. The Study Guide doesn't come across your desk. The Holy Quran doesn't come across your desk. It's not possible. Once you're a particular student of a particular caliber and you read X amount of books per year, you can't escape these books. It's not possible. So when you see men like that in government, don't you think they're interested in getting access to Area 51? Anyway, that's probably another discussion for another time. And if a man is of the mind of trying to think through a process of how he can export oxygen from the earth to the moon so that the human being can go and live on the moon by carrying his atmosphere with him, where did he learn that from? And who spoke about that first? The reason why I mention it is because there are some people out there trying to solve some really big problems. And some of us are struggling to make it through the day.
Yes.
Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And we have to start to see that as totally unacceptable. Particularly if you say you know God, the supreme being. European people were born from us. There was 30% of us in Arabia over 6,000 years ago. Just with a group who were 30% out of the 100%, they were dissatisfied and produced a leader who was able to bring about a new reality with 30% of the people being dissatisfied. New reality was born. Not a change, 30%, 100 or 360 degree change. It was total. And you can see a world in which we are living in, which is diametrically opposed to goodness, to freedom, to justice and equality. But how was 30% of the people able to do all of this and have their intentions felt globally? Like, you can't go anywhere on planet Earth and not have some or see respect for Western civilization or see Western civilization established there in some way, shape, or form. Can't go anywhere. So that means they were very consequential. So if we're in a time of 100% dissatisfaction, then a new reality has to be born. Why do you think it seems so, like, almost impossible that Mr. Trump could be voted as the president of the United States of America, bearing in mind his history. They said that there wasn't no man to ever be in the White House who lied more than him. But he still won. What was the undercurrent that put him in that house? His people didn't want to hear nothing from a particular group anymore. It was dissatisfaction. So he was riding a wave of dissatisfaction. And now he's there. He's literally been given a blank check. Do whatever you like. And he's doing it. He's wasting no time. How much time are we wasting knowing what we should be doing? And if the masses of the people are not seeing things the way how they used to see it, then we need to remix a few things, don't we? So when you look at marriage and male and female relationships, that needs a little updating, doesn't it? Because many people look at their parents, their grandparents, and don't want a marriage like that. Although they respect it, they want something different. True? Okay. So where is the difference coming from? Well, let's try and have a little talk about this. Because if we as men have a role, who gave us that role? If women have a role, who gave women their role? And it has to be our maker, right? So if the Holy Quran says that we must keep our duty to our Lord, what is our duty? Do we have any? They say, I think 250,000 persons get married in England every year. And our population is what, 66 million? And the adult population out of that is such that young people are not being steered into male and female relationships. They're being given multiple choice today. You can get married to another woman, get married to another man, or just swing between the two. Where it's too long to say I'm in a relationship, so you just say I'm bi. And that's it, bi. Think about it. What are you, bipolar? Or, you know, but there's a lot of this on the university campuses nowadays in England. That's where young people are learning to experiment. Once upon a time, it was males will experiment with females, females will experiment with males, but it was along that track. Now, kind of different. I remember, you know, I met a sister who we had great business ties and helping her out. She was helping me. And I saw her the other day and she had a weird piercing. So I said, we've never discussed, you know, relations or anything like that. It's always been a business kind of. But that piercing is a little suspect. So I got to get to the piercing and the ring in the nose. I need to understand this. Because no one's explained to me what the ring in the nose, really not in it, but around the bottom. I needed some intel. Everybody all right? Because I need to know who I'm talking to. Not that if you've made a particular choice, you're a bad person. I'm not saying that at all. But knowledge is power. Because I wouldn't want to get into a conversation about something and it ends up offending you. So let's try and find a way, a means, a method by getting into this. And a lot of our brothers and sisters have had some bad experience and have shut down to members of the opposite sex. and looking for an alternative, right? And we as men are saying, well, if scripturally the man's job is to maintain the woman, and that's his duty, then that's a big job. Like, duty is that which one is morally or legally obliged to do. Like, it's a job. Morally or legally obliged? That ain't small. You got to consider whether you're in a position to do that. Yeah? And if our role, the Quran says in the 4th chapter, 34th verse, is to be a maintainer of a woman, then we got to look at what type of maintenance are we speaking about. Do you know if you buy a brand new car, they will offer you a service package where you can pay up front for, annual services for 3 years, the duration of whatever loan you have. Yeah? Service, maintenance. It doesn't offer you a development package. It's service, not development. Many of us mistake servicing for developing. Boy, I need my nails done, Well, you ain't got no nails when I found you. Boy, I need my hair done regular. Your hair's picky when I found you. Sorry, I'm just being silly. Boy, I like Chanel, but you're wearing Primark. You following me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want Montclair. But the Montclair you have was from the hole in the wall from Dubai. You following me? You paid 25 quid for it, even though it's 2,500. So you can't expect me now to buy you the real one. And the one I saw you in cost 25 quid. How do you know that? The label was falling off. You following my point? So woman ain't supposed to come to man broke pocket. And his job is to develop you. You do yourself out of your power by expecting him to do for you what you are more than capable of doing for yourself. More than capable. Because if you look at the journey of the first relationship between male and female, where the sperm cell had to find the egg, they both came to the table with something of value. The man didn't have 23 chromosomes and the woman only had 3. She had 23 too. So it was 23. Negotiation. If he had 22, she wouldn't have chosen. If she had 22, he'd have to find himself another egg. Because there ain't no fully grown or fully developed human being going to be born from 45 chromosomes. Everybody all right? So you got to choose right. Healthy sperm, healthy egg. Yes? But look at the journey of the sperm. The sperm didn't swim downwards. Across, the sperm had to swim up like the salmon. Yeah. So the man had to find the woman in the first instance. So our first connection was, I find you on my journey towards. Not whilst I'm just floating around doing nothing. You're on the journey. So the question is, where are you going? I'm going for abundant life. I'm trying to come out. I'm trying to be born. I'm trying to access the universe. That sounds like a pretty strange, vision from being a tadpole. You're a tadpole. How you even got intelligence to want to see the sun, moon, and the stars and connect with planets and outer space? Look where we are now as being born. We're saying we're going to heaven in the sky. So to even have that thought, we must have had something as sperm and egg that was in that, from that perspective. So I want you to be in my life, and I want to be in your life so that we can do something far greater than we can do as separate entities. We're going to come together and realize our power potential. So you have to choose carefully. Because if you notice when you're in your car and you're going over humps, if you've got too many people in the car, your exhaust will scrape on the hump. So therefore, you've got to go over the hump slower. You lose mobility because of the weight that you carry. Yeah? So if you have an objective to connect with the Lord of the worlds on the highest level, then you got to choose someone who wants the same. So believer and disbeliever coming together in unity in the name of marriage, you're slowing yourself down, bro. You're slowing yourself down, sister. How's that going to work? You got one spiritual calling, your other person has Buju Banton playing. How does that work? You're reading Quran, going through Ramadan, and somebody else is at a Vibes Cartel concert. How was the concert? How was the Quran? Something to think about, isn't it?
It says yes.
It's like being in the egg actually has 1,000, they say, cells that make it to the egg to choose from. The egg doesn't say, I'm going to close my eyes and count to 10. It examines the healthiest one and allows it to come in and become infused with it. Huh? There's an intelligence there. It's not just one cell that makes it there, They say at least 1,000. That's a big choice. That means that egg in the woman is very valuable. Because that egg has what the sperm cell needs in order to complete its make and have a chance to break from this small cocoon or this small environment and become what we are today. You could never look at a sperm cell and an egg and think an amalgamation of that can be who we are today. Impossible. So if you look at man is the maintainer of woman, man's job is not to develop you. Your job is to have a relationship with your maker and develop yourself. You with me? That's how you stop abuse, misuse, by you not looking for a man to validate you, because you're already valuable. What do you look like paying a man's bills for him? That is crazy. Huh? Where did you meet him? That means you had to, like they say, the egg comes down a few centimeters down into the fallopian tube to meet the sperm cell. It comes down just a little. Some of you come down too much. That you can't even get back into the uterus to form new life because you came down too far.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. Isn't it not good? It it's not good. Because us as men, we've got to have aim, objective, and purpose. And when we're pursuing our aim, objective, and purpose, we find or we are attracted to a woman who's on the same path. She wants what we want. And we know without the help, we can't make it. And our job is to make sure that she's not devalued by keeping her in the state that we find her in. Maintaining her. You got general maintenance, preventative maintenance, and corrective maintenance. So if you look at general maintenance, is the process of preserving a condition or situation or the state of being preserved. The process of keeping something in good condition. Because when you now think that a man needs to come and, give you somewhere to live and all of this. So, question is, where were you living before I met you? And how long is the respect going to stay intact if he's of the mind, but you were nothing when I met you? Think about that. Because he's going to tell you that. You get on his nerves. But if you can say, excuse me, and you're bringing power to the table. But if he found you doing nothing and felt sorry for you, that's not a healthy relationship. Are you hearing me? Then his vibe is, I need this, serve me, serve me, serve me. And then you start calling him yes, king. Not husband, king, Yes, king. Yes, king. Because you started kind of crazy. You didn't see who you were. Why do you think the Caucasian man, whenever you're flying in business, flying academically, he's always looking to pluck you? He don't want you just because you're black and a piece of meat. He wants your mind fused with his mind so that you can help him. You can help him to attain the goals that he has set. When I watched Star Trek and saw the sister there with Spock, but she wasn't the waitress. She was helping to run, what's that ship called? The Enterprise. She was chosen because she was bringing something of value to the table. Are you with me? That's why you've always got to work on yourself. Add value to yourself. Because men would want to know who is not just based upon external, that you can't deny is definitely important. However, have you ever looked at, but anyway, preventative maintenance is another form of maintenance. And preventative maintenance is maintenance performed in an attempt to avoid failures. The care and servicing by personnel for the purpose of maintaining equipment and facilities in a satisfactory operating condition by providing for systemic inspection, detection, and correction of incipient failures, either before they occur or before they develop into major defects. So you and I can't be responsible for playing our role, and we're negligent in playing our role until the woman now no longer relies on us. So we end up losing our authority in that area. Preventative maintenance. So if you're paying the mortgage and she's doing something else, you can't wait till mortgage day and you miss your payment and she reads the letter, payment is missed for April or March. She's going to start to get bummy. Isn't that right? And she's going to start to think, man, I got to go back to work. And once she's got to go back to work, what do you then miss out on? Because remember, for a woman to be a mother and to maintain a home, you know how much money it costs for a cleaner? Like a good cleaner. A good cleaner is about 30 quid an hour. And if they're going to clean a house, they need 4 hours. Deep clean. Not wipe surface. Deep clean. That's like 4 hours at that rate. It's 120 quid. That's just the cleaner. And if you at 40, 50 don't want to be on your knees cleaning that, then someone's got to have 120 quid a week. Yeah? Because can you really rear a baby, wash, iron, clean, cook? Some of you on 1 meal every other day. You don't cook. Everybody all right? 1 meal a week. That poor brother. He'll go to gym and faint. What's wrong with this man? I ain't eating for a week. But anyway. Yeah, quickly moving on, right? If you're going to pay someone to cook, you go to a decent restaurant. If somebody is cooking food for you from scratch, you start with what? Your salad. The salad starts with if you have an open kitchen, the chef you can see him cutting up the salad, dressing it, doing whatever with his gloves on. And then when it comes, you're like, whoa, looks good. You saw the whole process through the glass. Man's hair's covered, got on his clothing, Michelin star, professional, clean. Do you understand? You ain't finding no hair in your food. Yeah? Can I get a witness? Yes, salad. Then your soup comes. Then your main course with your vegetables cooked perfectly. It's not too hard, not too soft. It's not warmed up vegetables. You hear me? Because once it's warmed up, it's already been cooked, it's dead. It's like expecting nutrients from fried plantain. It's dead. You eat fried plantain just for taste, not for nutrients. Because it's dead. Yeah, it's dead. So when you have this, then you got your main course. The fish, the Dover sole came out, the sea bass. And you're there. Wow. And then some dessert. Wow. Soup. Salad. Main course, if you're a vegetarian. Then your little dessert. That's 4 courses. From scratch. Made for you to come out oven ready. Not warmed up. Not microwaved. If you go to a decent restaurant, that will cost you nearly £100 a head. How do you know? Paid it just the other day. I was with a family member, and he said, let's go and have something. Pops, you've been away. Let's go and eat something. So I did. Everybody all right? Yes, sir. And this man, he done this beef. And it was cooked, they said, for 16 hours. So by the time it's on your plate, it just folds. It looks so good. I haven't had beef for 30 years. I was ready to break. As God is my witness. I sat there and said, I know I'm paying for this meal, so I may as well see what I'm paying for, because that looked too good. And the way they served it was like on the bone, like a rib. So it was just so beautiful. But the bill was no joke. So if you want to eat like that, and your wife is cooking like that, that's like 200 quid for two people. And how much could you, so if you were paying her a day to cook you a meal from scratch, could you really afford her? You can't even hear what I'm saying. You go to a spa, and if the spa says that in the spa they're going to run you a bath, and you're going to get a massage, how much is a massage in a spa? Can't hear you, sorry. Sorry? Like, at least 150 quid. If it's a proper place, it's 200 quid. Yeah? Like for a 90-minute, that's 200 quid. But you lot in the place on Brixton High Road. You get your little 30 quid massage. You go to Penge. Sorry. So your meal was £100. Your massage and your relaxation was 150 quid, 200 quid. To clean your house was £120. If you'd done all of that in one day, how much would you have spent? So if you spent 200, another 200 for two of you, 400 and 120, that's 520. Take off the cleaning, because that's once a week, deep clean. That's £400 a day times 7, 2,800 a week times 52. Someone do it for me real quick. How much? Bravo Darty?
145 grand.
Now, can we afford you? If that would be your salary for keeping the house up, cooking a meal, 4-course, every day, massage, stress-free, baths, all of this, children, pick up, drop off, and plus trying to keep yourself in order so you're not walking around the house with just cane roll all day or something. Like the lines in your plaits are like Jackie, they're not even straight lines. Everybody. Like there's no pattern to your cane roll. It's like looking at it make a man dizzy. Everybody all right? If you do it right, that's 100 grand anyway. And if you have a woman who can do all of those things, and the least you can do, she might not be charging you for the massage. Everybody all right? She might not be charging you for the dinner, because some of you, it's not just dinner, you have a little breakfast too. Then what's the maintenance package? Are you really doing someone a favor? Because when God allows you to come into, his kingdom, if you will, and allows you to marry a woman who would do all of those things for you, you got to be careful how you devalue her. You with me? Like you can't take for granted a good cooked meal. You would have to go through restaurant, don't like that one, don't like. And if you try and compare someone else's cooking to your mother's cooking, they got to come right. And worse, some of you as brothers know how to cook. Most of these Caribbean restaurants, they run by brothers.
Yes.
And if that brother now is going to defer to his woman, you know she's Michelin star. Because them brothers, when someone can cook for a group, that is skillful. To cook for 2 people is a different kind of science than for 100 persons in a day. That's genius. And it's unfortunate that some of these brothers and sisters don't get the respect that they're due. You with me? So man being the maintainer is what really justifies him being in heaven. Then we have to make sure the woman has everything she needs in place if we want that kind of lifestyle. You following me? Because if you're going out there to earn money, why are you going to earn money? Because you want to be in heaven. And if being in your car is heaven to you, you got to eat something. Because when you put petrol in the car, you're not drinking some too, are you? And even that car every 6 months needs to go for what? Maintenance. And if you don't have the ability to respond when the lights come on saying service time, what starts happening to your car? My brother was driving me the other day, and I was wondering why he's driving so slow. Because it's not like him, he got a heavy foot. Good heavy foot. Because I don't like driving with people who don't drive like me. I was with another brother and he was braking on amber lights. I'm like, I need to get out of this car. Like, I just need to get out of this car. You are way too safe for me. Like, way. And it frustrates me, you know. Man stopped at orange. But anyway. My main brother, the car was driving a bit slow. And I know that's not like him. And he said, oh, brother, they've got this new thing on the car that if the car needs servicing, maintenance, it causes the car to lag. That you can't drive beyond a certain speed. So they're forcing you into their garage. I said, that's interesting. That's like male and female relationships. When we stop performing our duty, there's a lag. The food might be not as fresh as it used to be. Now you start getting more lasagna. Everybody all right? You get a bit of, well, not a bit. You start to get more pasta dishes. Everybody all right? Pasta, you know. And even in the Caribbean, they at least call it, you know, no, man, they call it